Hey loves, today we're going to talk exactly how and why your manifestation, especially of your specific person, is absolutely meant to be easy and effortless. Because I know most of the time we would say the opposite. Sometimes it feels as if manifestation is difficult or hard, or we have these ideas that it's hard to remain in the state, things like that. But I'm here to tell you it's all an illusion. And don't worry, I'll explain this because, of course, I want you to have your specific person manifestation be easy and effortless. And it always is that way. Again, minus the concept of this illusion, but we're going to explain it right here and right now. So I want you to think of the concept that in a state, it is very easy to do things that align with the state. So you can almost imagine, and I've said this before in videos, that you actually can never think or do things that are outside of the state that you're already in. So if you are feeling confident, all of the actions that you perform, all of the thoughts that you have must actually be in the essence or the alignment of confidence. But the same thing as if you were in a state of sadness, right? When you're in a state of sadness, you can't act from a state of happiness and you can't do things that are happy because your state aligns with it. So you can never act outside of the state that you're in, thus making it easy only when you are in the state, because all of your actions when in a state align with the state. You can even do things that you would say are unattractive or undesirable, but in a confident state are going to actually be confident because that's the state that you're coming from. So the concept when it comes to manifestation being easy and effortless is this idea that everything is easy from the state. If you're in the state of something, it's going to feel easy. So if manifestation ever does not feel easy or does not feel effortless, it means we're not acting from the state, and thus the state is the most important thing that we can do. And the feeling that we feel when it feels hard or difficult is actually just the sensation of you moving from one state to another. Okay? So when you're moving from a state of feeling single into a state of being in a relationship, you get the illusion that it is hard. You get the illusion that it's difficult. But this is only because our ego is so attached to that previous sense of self that we don't want to let it go. And thus it feels difficult to let go of it. But that's the only experience and reason as to why it can ever feel hard or difficult, and exactly why I mention it as being in an illusion. So think about it this way. If you are the version of yourself now who feels single, with the version of yourself in your end state, so imagine the version of you already married to your specific person, did they find it hard to be in that state? And you would say no. In the same way, do you find it hard to be in the state of your name? And you would say no. But there was a time in which you didn't know your name, but it absolutely felt, it feels eons away, or it's really far away from that state. You are in the state completely, utterly, entirely of your name, your address. There's a bunch of things that you're completely in the state of. And it doesn't feel hard, but there might have been a point in time in which it did feel hard. But this is, again, the transition from, let's say, you probably don't remember when you got your name or when you started saying your name, but it was in a state of having no identity and no name. And going from that state and latching onto that feels difficult to then move into and transition into a state of having a name. In the same way, when we're single, we attach to our ideas, beliefs, and actions, and it only feels hard because we attempt to change those, but we don't have to change those ideas, beliefs, and actions. We just have to come from the state of already being with our specific person. That's the state. When you're in the state, and again, it's all focused on, again, your understanding, the way in which you're being in your reality, then it becomes effortless. And so I want you to imagine it also in the way of the law of reversed effort. So the law of reversed effort states, the harder you try to do something, the harder it becomes. That would only make sense if what I'm saying is true with the state. So the harder we try to do something, the harder it becomes. It just means the harder you try to transition from a state of being single into a relationship, when you try to change your single thoughts into relationship thoughts, that's when it feels hard. But it's only because we are not letting go of those previous sense of self, those previous thoughts, or those previous beliefs. Again, you are not anything and you are everything all at once. So when you attach to this concept of having these negative thoughts or single thoughts or thoughts that your specific person can't reach out to you right now, or you won't be together for the holidays, you don't need to attach or change those thoughts at all. those thoughts are just negative thoughts that don't align with what we want. So instead of attempting to change them, what we're going to do is completely let them go and disidentify with them. We're just no longer going to identify with that statement. But instead, again, we're not transitioning or changing thoughts. We are just bringing entirely new or different thoughts. In the same way, you don't have to take yourself from being single and change yourself into being in a relationship. You just have to let go of this concept of being single and move into this concept of being in a relationship, because your state of consciousness, again, is everything. Think of who you are. Think of who can say, I am in a relationship or I am with my specific person. What identity, what person, what thing, what consciousness is aware of that? And you would say your pure consciousness, right? It is just your awareness, your I amness, as Neville Goddard would say. That is everything all at once. And it's only when we begin to identify with a certain ego state that it feels difficult to transition. So again, if you are feeling like it is difficult to manifest your specific person, or it feels hard, it just means we're acting not from the state. Being in a state of being single and trying to make your specific person like you is basically impossible, right? That's difficult. That's hard. That's crazy. Think about it in this way as well. If we think about, is it easy to hit a home run in baseball? And you'd say right now, probably not. I would say, no, I don't think that is easy. But what about to a professional baseball player? They're infinitely closer to doing and achieving that outcome than we are because they're in the state of it. But the transition from going from not being good at baseball to being good at baseball, that might have been experienced as an illusion of difficulty. But in reality, if you can do something and you can imagine it, you can have it right here and right now. In the same way that I mentioned in my previous video, that your reality is like a television network, you have already access to all the knowledge you could ever want, all of the objects, the physical things, the ideas. You have access to every single thing ever. There is no difference. So I know it sounds strange to think that, yes, you could immediately and instantaneously be good at baseball, but that is actually showcased in people who understand this concept. So think of someone who is trying to learn baseball but can't, as compared to someone who learns baseball really fast. And you could use anything for that nature. Think back to when you were at your job or at school, right? Think of a concept that you were learning. Does it seem hard to do now? Does it feel difficult to do your job now? And you'd say, no, it's easy. It's effortless, right? Because from the state, it's very easy and effortless. But in the transition of where you felt you were as compared to now, that could have felt difficult or hard, or that's when you have the sensation that it's hard to get to that certain point in time. But again, it's all an illusion because everything acting from the state automatically creates and makes everything effortless. Again, the version of you already in your end state has your specific person. And this feels very easy and very effortless. So again, I want to reiterate and state that understanding is the most important factor. So if it feels hard or it feels difficult, it just means we're not in the state of it, because the state would produce the easy action. So basically what you want to think about is right here and right now, there is a specific and direct path to your manifestation. We just have to be in the state to see it, but then also we have to be in the state to actually walk it. This is where, again, everything is happening simultaneously. You are already with your specific person. You've already created everything. It's already done. Okay? There is no, your God state, your higher self. God could not have not done something. So there must be this ability. If you can imagine something, then you can create it. But it all comes from the state. So what I want you to do today is just imagine again, where is that path? Ask yourself, if there was a path directly from my specific person, or from here to my specific person, to then have them reach out to you today, have them go on a date with you today, have them spend the holidays with you. If there were a path that went directly there, what state or version of myself would be able to easily walk it? How would I feel? What would I think? What would I believe? And that's going to be the path to making everything effortless, everything easy, because again, it's only the thought process or illusion of changing from one state that we hold on to those previously held beliefs. Basically, how hard you're holding on to those previous beliefs are the illusion of difficulty, because you can just drop them immediately. There is nothing keeping you holding on to these beliefs, these ideas, and these states. The belief that you can't be with your specific person for the holiday, there's no reason to have that belief at all, because we know for a fact, and you've experienced this in your entire life, there has never been a time that you thought of, held on to, or kept a negative belief and you had some positive outcome from it. That has never occurred. Ever, ever. Even think about individuals that you may see. So think of your job or your career. And when you learned it, if you work with other people, then you'll understand you can see people who aren't in the most loving way possible. You probably work with people who are not good at their job, right? And you'd say, why? And you say, because their state is attached to a previous sense of self or a previous state that doesn't feel good to the job or sees or perceives it as difficult. But you are different. You see it as easy. You see as opportunity for growth. You are very good at learning. And that's why you're so good at your job. But then it's all a state because it feels effortless for you now. But for that other individual, it feels difficult. And you'd say again, why? And it's all in connection to the state. The same thing is with your specific person. The version of you that's in your end state, it's viewing you in the same way that you view those other people at your job. Thinking, what are you doing? Right? Like it's easy. It's effortless. You can do it. You just need the state and the assumption and understanding that you can in order to make that your reality. So if you did have any questions on this, make sure to comment them down below. Remember, you can also reach out to me on my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can send me a personal message if you would like, or if you had some cool successes or anything going on with your own personal manifestation, definitely let me know because I definitely want to hear all about it. So if you know for a fact that you're going to act this out and you're going to completely let go of that previous sense of self and that previous state and make manifestation easy and effortless, comment manifesting my specific person is easy and effortless, or some affirmation along those lines, because that's really going to set it in stone. So again, let me know all of your questions, all of your thoughts. Leave a like on this video if you definitely like this, because I know in my previous video, I talked about how this concept of manifesting instantly sometimes is hard to imagine or think of. And so definitely let me know your thoughts. And if you want me to make more videos like this, I absolutely will. So again, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you in my next video tomorrow.